Cristiano Ronaldo, From Tears to Triumph. Hello everyone, and welcome back to English Life Stories. What if I told you that the man who became the greatest goal scorer in football history once cried himself to sleep every night because kids at school made fun of his accent? What if the person who now inspires millions of young athletes around the world actually spent years believing he would never be good enough for anything? But here's the question that will haunt you. What would you do if you announced to the world that you were going to be the best at something? And everyone laughed at you. One boy faced exactly this situation, and his answer changed the world forever. This isn't just the story of that boy who became a legend. This is a story about turning your deepest pain into unstoppable power. This is a story about you, too. You see, every single person listening to this right now has felt different, has felt rejected, has felt like they don't belong somewhere. Every person has had moments when they felt like giving up on their dreams. Cristiano's story will show you exactly how to transform those feelings into pure determination and success. So stay with me until the very end, because this story will completely change how you see your own struggles, your own dreams, and your own incredible potential. Let's begin this amazing journey together. Chapter 1. The Island Boy with Impossible Dreams. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos. Aveiro was born on February 5, 1985, on a tiny Portuguese island called Madeira. This island is so small that most people have never even heard of it. His father, José Diniz, was an alcoholic who worked as a part-time gardener and equipment manager for a local football club. His mother, Maria Dolores, cleaned houses and worked in a hotel kitchen just to put food on the table. They lived in a tiny house in one of the poorest neighborhoods of Funchal. The roof leaked when it rained. The walls were so thin you could hear everything the neighbors said. There was barely enough money for basic food, let alone dreams of professional football. But this boy had something that would change everything. Even as a small child, he had this burning obsession with one thing: a football. Every single day, from morning until night, Cristiano kicked a ball. In the street, in his tiny backyard, even inside the house until his mother screamed at him to stop breaking things. His neighbors thought he was crazy. "That boy is obsessed," they would say. "He never stops. It's not normal." But Cristiano didn't care what anyone thought. Football wasn't just a game for him. It was escape. It was hope. It was everything. When Cristiano was 8 years old, his father made a decision that would change everything. Despite having almost no money, José enrolled his son in a local football club called Andorinha. The first day at training, something magical happened. All the other kids were good, but Cristiano was different. He was faster, more determined, more hungry than anyone else. But here's what made coaches notice him immediately. While other kids played for fun, Cristiano played like his life depended on it. Because in many ways, it did. By age 10, Cristiano was already the best player on Madeira Island. But being the best on a tiny island meant nothing in the world of professional football. Then came the phone call that would change everything. The biggest football club in Portugal, Sporting Lisbon, heard about this incredible kid from Madeira. They invited him for a trial. But there was one huge problem. Lisbon was on mainland Portugal, over 1,000 kilometers away from his family, his friends, everything he had ever known. And Cristiano was only 12 years old. His mother looked into his eyes and asked the question that would haunt both of them. "Are you sure about this, my son? Are you absolutely sure?" What happened next would define the rest of his life. Cristiano, barely 12 years old, looked back at his mother and said something that still gives me chills. "Mama, I would rather fail trying than spend my whole life wondering what could have been." And so, this tiny boy from a forgotten island packed a small bag and left everything behind to chase an impossible dream. But here's my question for you. Have you ever had to choose between comfort and your dreams? Have you ever had to leave everything familiar behind for something uncertain? Drop a comment and tell me about that moment in your life, because what happened to Cristiano next will show you exactly why that choice matters. Chapter 2. Alone in a Strange World. Lisbon, 1997. Imagine this. You're 12 years old. You're living in a dormitory with boys you've never met. You speak with a strong island accent that makes everyone laugh at you. You miss your family so much that you cry into your pillow every single night. This was Cristiano's daily reality when he arrived at Sporting Lisbon's academy. The other boys came from wealthy families in big cities. They had expensive football boots, fancy training gear, and confidence that came from privilege. Cristiano had one pair of worn-out boots and clothes that his mother had bought from second-hand stores. Worse than the poverty was the mockery. "Listen to how he talks," the boys would laugh. "He sounds like a farmer. Look at his cheap boots. Is his family too poor to buy real football equipment?" Every day, Cristiano faced the same choice. He could quit, go back home to his family and comfort, or he could prove that talent and determination matter more than money and privilege. Every night, alone in that dormitory, Cristiano made the same promise to himself. "I will show them. I will show everyone." But showing them was much harder than saying it. During training sessions, Cristiano was incredible. He could do skills that left coaches speechless. He could run faster and longer than boys 3 years older. He scored goals that seemed impossible. But in school, Cristiano struggled terribly. He had never received good education on Madeira. The academic work in Lisbon was far beyond anything he had experienced. Teachers looked at him like he was stupid. Other students whispered behind his back. Some days, Cristiano felt like he was failing at everything except football. At night, he would call his mother crying. "Mama, I want to come home. They all think I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm not smart enough for this." His mother, working double shifts to survive without her son's help at home, would say the words that kept Cristiano going. "Intelligence isn't about being like everyone else, my love. Intelligence is about finding your own way to greatness." By age 15, Cristiano had become the most promising young player in all of Portugal. Scouts from major European clubs were watching him constantly. But then, something happened that nearly ended everything before it had truly begun. During a routine medical examination, doctors discovered something terrifying. Cristiano had tachycardia, a serious heart condition that made his heart beat dangerously fast during physical activity. "Your football career might be over before it starts," the doctors told him. "This condition could kill you if you continue playing at this intensity." Most teenagers would have given up, but Cristiano's response shocked everyone. For most teenagers, this diagnosis would have meant the end of all their dreams. But Cristiano made a decision that shocked everyone, including his family. He decided to have heart surgery, a risky laser procedure that could either fix the problem completely or make it worse. The surgery was successful, but doctors recommended months of rest and recovery. What Cristiano did next defined who he really was. Cristiano was back training just days later. "I would rather risk everything to chase my dream," he told his worried mother, "than live safely without it." This moment taught Cristiano something that would define his entire career. When life tries to stop you, you fight back twice as hard. Then came the opportunity that would change his life forever. Manchester United, one of the most famous football clubs in the world, invited Cristiano for a trial. The legendary manager Sir Alex Ferguson had heard about this Portuguese teenager who played like a man possessed. But there was a problem. Cristiano was still just 17 years old. Moving to England would mean adapting to a completely different country, a completely different language, and the most competitive football league in the world. Most people advised him to wait, to develop more in Portugal first. But Cristiano had learned something important during those lonely years in Lisbon. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you must be willing to be uncomfortable. In August 2003, Cristiano Ronaldo signed with Manchester United for $12.24 million, making him the most expensive teenager in football history. The pressure was enormous. The expectations were impossible. And Cristiano was about to face the biggest test of his young life. Chapter 3. The Manchester Furnace, Old Trafford Stadium, Manchester, August 2003. When Cristiano Ronaldo first walked onto that famous pitch wearing the number 7 jersey, he was carrying more than just a football shirt. He was carrying the weight of incredible expectations. Number 7 at Manchester United wasn't just a number, it was a legacy. It had belonged to legends like George Best, Eric Cantona, and David Beckham, players who became football gods. The English media immediately started calling Cristiano the new George Best and the future of football. But the pressure of those comparisons was crushing. In his first season, Cristiano struggled terribly. The English game was faster, more physical, more demanding than anything he had experienced in Portugal. Defenders kicked him brutally. They pulled his shirt, grabbed his arms, said terrible things to try to intimidate him. English football fans, famous for their harsh criticism, started booing Cristiano regularly. They called him too fancy, a show-off, and a one-trick pony who would never succeed in real football. The British newspapers, brutal in their honesty, wrote headlines like 12 million waste, Portuguese flop, and United's expensive mistake. Reading those headlines broke Cristiano's heart every single day. But here's what made Cristiano different from every other young player who had crumbled under such pressure. Instead of being destroyed by criticism, he used it as fuel. Every morning, Cristiano arrived at training before anyone else. Every evening, he stayed after everyone else had gone home. He practiced free kicks until his feet were bleeding. He did sprints until he could barely stand. His teammates were amazed by his obsession with improvement. Wayne Rooney, one of England's greatest players, later said, "I've never seen anyone work like Cristiano. While we were going home to rest, he was still practicing. While we were sleeping, he was thinking about how to get better." Sir Alex Ferguson, the legendary manager, saw something special in this Portuguese teenager. Not just talent, but an unbreakable mental strength. Ferguson became more than just a coach to Cristiano. He became the father figure that Cristiano desperately needed so far from home. "Cristiano," Ferguson told him one day, "greatness isn't about being perfect immediately. Greatness is about getting back up every time you fall down and falling down one less time than yesterday." But in 2005, tragedy struck Cristiano's life in the most devastating way possible. His father, José Dini Severo, died at just 52 years old. The alcoholism that had haunted his family for years had finally taken José's life. Cristiano was in Manchester when he received the phone call. He collapsed to his knees in the training ground, sobbing uncontrollably. Sir Alex Ferguson found him there and did something that Cristiano would never forget. He sat down beside him on the grass and said nothing. He just stayed there, like a father would. Later, Ferguson told Cristiano, "Take all the time you need. Your family comes first. Football will wait." But Cristiano made a decision that surprised everyone. He played in Manchester United's next match just days after his father's funeral. "My father never got to see me become successful," Cristiano said through tears after scoring 2 goals that night. "But I will make sure his sacrifice was not in vain." From that day forward, Cristiano never touched alcohol. He dedicated his life to the discipline his father never had, transforming his pain into pure determination. Slowly, gradually, Cristiano began to adapt to English football. His skills became more effective. His decision-making improved. His confidence grew stronger. In his 3rd season, something magical happened. Cristiano scored 23 goals and helped Manchester United win the Premier League championship. But the real breakthrough came in 2008, during the Champions League final against Chelsea. This was the biggest game in European football. Millions of people around the world were watching. Everything Cristiano had worked for came down to this single match. In the 26th minute, Cristiano scored a powerful header that gave Manchester United the lead. But Chelsea equalized, and the game went to a penalty shootout. When it was Cristiano's turn to take a penalty kick, he stepped up to that spot carrying the hopes of an entire team, an entire city, an entire country. The pressure was unimaginable. Miss this penalty, and he would be remembered as the player who lost the Champions League for Manchester United. Cristiano placed the ball down, took several deep breaths, and thought about that 12-year-old boy who had left his island to chase an impossible dream. He scored. Manchester United won the Champions League. Cristiano was named the best player in the world, winning his first Ballon d'Or award. But even this incredible success couldn't prepare him for what was coming next. Real Madrid, the most prestigious football club in the world, wanted Cristiano Ronaldo. And they were willing to pay more money than had ever been paid for any football player in history. The decision would test everything Cristiano believed about loyalty, ambition, and destiny. Chapter 4. The Galactico Pressure Cooker. Madrid, Spain, July 2009. When Real Madrid paid $94 million for Cristiano Ronaldo, they weren't just buying a football player, they were buying a promise. A promise that this Portuguese superstar would bring them the Champions League trophy they had been desperate to win for years. Cristiano's presentation at Santiago Bernabéu Stadium was like something from a movie. Over 80,000 fans came just to see him wear the Real Madrid shirt for the first time. The pressure was absolutely enormous. Real Madrid fans, known as the most demanding in the world, expected immediate perfection. They had paid a world record fee, and they wanted a world record return on their investment. But Cristiano's first season at Real Madrid was a nightmare. He scored goals, yes. But Real Madrid didn't win any major trophies. Barcelona, their biggest rivals, dominated Spanish football with Lionel Messi playing the best football anyone had ever seen. The Spanish media was brutal. They compared Cristiano to Messi constantly, and in those comparisons, Cristiano always seemed to come second. Messi is pure genius, they wrote. Ronaldo is just an athlete with fancy skills. Messi makes football look like art. Ronaldo makes it look like work. These comparisons hurt Cristiano more than any physical tackle ever could. Late at night, alone in his massive Madrid mansion, Cristiano faced his darkest thoughts. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not as naturally gifted as Messi. Maybe I'll never be considered the greatest player in the world. But then Cristiano remembered something his mother had told him years ago. You can't control what gifts God gave other people, my son. You can only control how hard you work with the gifts He gave you. That night, Cristiano made a decision that would define the rest of his career. If he couldn't be more naturally talented than Messi, he would become more disciplined, more dedicated, more physically perfect than any football player in history. Cristiano hired the best nutritionists, the best fitness trainers, the best sports psychologists. He turned his body into a machine designed specifically for football excellence. His routine became legendary. 7 a.m. wake-up, calculated meals, training twice daily, 90-minute naps, in bed by 10 p.m. Every single day. No exceptions. This routine never changed. Not for parties, not for holidays, not for personal celebrations. His teammates thought he was crazy. His friends thought he was obsessed. But Cristiano understood something that most people never learn. Excellence isn't an accident. Excellence is a choice you make every single day. But was this obsession enough to overcome Messi's natural genius? The answer would come sooner than anyone expected. The results were incredible. In his second season at Real Madrid, Cristiano scored 53 goals. In his third season, he scored 60 goals. But individual achievements weren't enough. Real Madrid still hadn't won the Champions League. Then came the 2013-2014 season, the season that would make Cristiano Ronaldo immortal. But before that final triumph, there was a moment that showed how far Cristiano had traveled as both a player and a person. In March 2013, Real Madrid played Manchester United in the Champions League. Cristiano was returning to Old Trafford for the first time since leaving for Real Madrid. Many expected hostility from the United fans. After all, their former hero was now playing for a rival team. But when Cristiano scored a spectacular goal that night, something magical happened. The entire Old Trafford Stadium rose to their feet and applauded him. 80,000 Manchester United fans were clapping for the player who had just scored against their team. Cristiano was visibly moved, tears in his eyes, as he acknowledged the crowd that had watched him grow from a skinny teenager into a global superstar. Sir Alex Ferguson, watching from the stands, smiled proudly. His boy had come home. In the Champions League final against Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid was losing 1-0 with just minutes remaining. Their Champions League drought was about to continue for another year. But in the 93rd minute, Sergio Ramos scored an equalizing goal that sent the game to extra time. In extra time, Cristiano scored the most important goal of his career, a goal that gave Real Madrid their 10th Champions League trophy and proved that Cristiano belonged among the greatest players in football history. After the match, with tears in his eyes, Cristiano said something that revealed his true character. "This trophy isn't just for me. It's for every kid who has ever been told they're not good enough. It's for everyone who has ever been underestimated." But even this triumph was just the beginning, because Cristiano was about to enter a period of dominance that would rewrite the history books forever. What came next was so incredible that even his biggest fans couldn't have predicted it. Chapter 5. Breaking every record. From 2014 to 2018, Cristiano Ronaldo entered what many consider the most dominant period any football player has ever experienced. He won 4 Champions League trophies in 5 years. He became the top scorer in Champions League history. He won 4 more Ballon d'Or awards. He led Portugal to their first major international trophy at Euro 2016. But here's what made this period so incredible. It wasn't just about winning. It was about how Cristiano redefined what was possible for a football player. In 2017, at age 32, when most football players begin to decline, Cristiano scored 42 goals in the Champions League knockout stages over 3 seasons. This is a record that may never be broken. His physical condition was better than players 10 years younger. His dedication to training was more intense than ever. His hunger for success actually increased with every trophy he won. But the most impressive thing about Cristiano during this period wasn't his goals or his trophies. It was his leadership. In the 2016 European Championship final, Portugal was playing France in Paris. In the 25th minute, Cristiano suffered a serious knee injury and had to leave the game. Most teams would have collapsed without their superstar. But Cristiano, despite being in tremendous pain, spent the entire second half on the sideline, coaching his teammates, encouraging them, refusing to let them give up. Portugal won that final 1-0. It was their first major tournament victory in history. The image of Cristiano, tears streaming down his face, lifting the European Championship trophy, is one of the most emotional moments in sports history. After the match, Cristiano said something that perfectly captured his evolution as a player and as a person. "Individual awards are beautiful, but team victories are what make life meaningful." But even at the peak of his success at Real Madrid, Cristiano faced a choice that would shock the football world. At age 33, when logic suggested he should finish his career at Real Madrid, Cristiano made one of the most surprising decisions in sports history. He decided to leave Real Madrid and join Juventus in Italy. He wanted to prove that he could succeed in every major European league. Most people thought he was crazy. Why leave the club where you had achieved everything? Why take such a massive risk so late in your career? But Cristiano had learned something that most successful people never understand. The moment you stop challenging yourself is the moment you start declining. Chapter 6. The Italian Renaissance. Turin, Italy, July 2018. When 33-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo arrived at Juventus, many football experts predicted his best years were behind him. "He's too old to adapt to Italian football," they said. "Serie A is too tactical, too defensive for a player like Ronaldo." But these experts had forgotten something crucial about Cristiano. He had been doubted, criticized, and underestimated his entire career. And every single time, he had proved the doubters wrong. Cristiano's first season at Juventus was magnificent. He scored 28 goals and helped Juventus win the Serie A championship. But more importantly, he brought a winning mentality that transformed the entire team. His younger teammates watched in amazement as Cristiano, at age 34, trained harder than players half his age. Paulo Dybala, one of Juventus's brightest young stars, said, "Watching Cristiano train is like watching a masterclass in dedication. He shows us that age is just a number if you're willing to work for excellence." But Cristiano's time at Juventus also taught him one of life's most difficult lessons. Even with individual excellence, some team goals require perfect timing and circumstances. Despite his incredible performances, Juventus never won the Champions League during Cristiano's 3 years there. This wasn't Cristiano's fault, but it was still a disappointment that hurt him deeply. In 2021, facing financial difficulties and changing strategies, Juventus made the decision to let Cristiano leave. At age 36, when most football players have already retired, Cristiano faced another crossroads. He could retire with dignity, having achieved more than almost any player in history. Or he could continue chasing perfection, even when perfection seemed impossible. The choice he made would surprise everyone. Chapter 7: The Return of the King. Manchester, England, August 2021. When Cristiano Ronaldo returned to Manchester United after 12 years away, it felt like destiny. The boy who had left Manchester as a young superstar was coming back as a legend. But this return was about more than nostalgia. It was about proving that greatness has no expiration date. In his first game back at Old Trafford, Cristiano scored 2 goals. The stadium erupted with a joy that seemed to shake the entire city of Manchester. But this return also revealed something beautiful about Cristiano's character. Despite all his success, despite all his achievements, he still felt like that hungry teenager who wanted to prove himself. During his second stint at Manchester United, Cristiano became the first player in history to score over 800 official goals in professional football. And he didn't stop there. By 2024, Cristiano had surpassed 900 goals in his professional career. 900 goals. Think about that number for a moment. That's not just excellence. That's consistency at the highest level for over 20 years. But perhaps Cristiano's greatest moment during this period came not in a club match, but while representing Portugal at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. At age 37, Cristiano was playing in his 5th World Cup. Most experts believe this would be his last chance to win the only major trophy missing from his collection. When Portugal was eliminated in the quarter-finals, cameras captured Cristiano walking off the pitch with tears in his eyes. Many people thought this was the end of Cristiano's international career. They thought they were witnessing the final chapter of one of football's greatest stories. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been told you're too old to chase a dream? Have you ever felt like time was running out? Share your story in the comments, because what Cristiano did next will change how you think about age and limitations forever. They were completely wrong about what was coming. Chapter 8: The Saudi Arabian Adventure. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, January 2023. When Cristiano Ronaldo announced he was joining Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia, the football world was shocked. Many people couldn't understand why one of the greatest players in history would move to a league that most fans had never heard of. Critics called it career suicide. Experts said he was chasing money. Former teammates questioned his decision. But Cristiano's decision revealed something profound about his character that nobody expected, something that would change football in an entire region of the world. His presence in Saudi Arabia brought unprecedented attention to Middle Eastern football. Suddenly, the world was watching Saudi Arabian games. Young players in the region had a superstar to inspire them. At age 38, Cristiano was still scoring spectacular goals, still breaking records, still showing the dedication that had defined his entire career. But more importantly, he was proving that true greatness isn't about where you play. It's about how you approach every single day, every single training session, every single opportunity to improve. During his time in Saudi Arabia, something beautiful happened in Cristiano's personal life. His family grew and became his greatest source of joy and motivation. Cristiano is now the proud father of 4 children. Cristiano Jr., born in 2010, twins Ava and Matteo, born in 2017, and Alana Martina, also born in 2017, with his partner Georgina Rodriguez. Georgina, whom he met in 2016, became not just his life partner, but his anchor and support system. Together, they built a beautiful family that Cristiano calls my greatest achievement. All the trophies in the world, Cristiano once said, cannot compare to the joy of coming home to my children and the woman I love. But Cristiano's success extended far beyond football and family. He had also built one of the most impressive business empires in sports history. His estimated net worth reached between $500 and $600 million, making him one of the wealthiest athletes in the world. In 2023 and 2024, Forbes named him the highest-paid athlete globally. His lifetime contract with Nike alone is worth over $1 billion. His CR7 brand includes clothing, shoes, perfumes, and even luxury hotels. Every business venture carries his dedication to excellence. From the poor boy from Madeira who had one pair of worn-out boots, Cristiano had built not just a legendary career, but a financial legacy that would secure his family's future for generations. Chapter 9. The Eternal Legend. Today, as I'm telling you this story, Cristiano Ronaldo is 39 years old and still playing professional football at the highest level. He has scored over 900 goals in his professional career. He has won 5 Champions League trophies, 5 Ballon d'Or awards, and championships in England, Spain, and Italy. But perhaps his most meaningful achievement is this. Cristiano became the all-time leading scorer in international football history, and the player with the most international appearances ever recorded by FIFA. He has represented Portugal in 5 World Cups and 6 European Championships, scoring in every single tournament. At 39 years old, he is still Portugal's captain and most important player. But these numbers, incredible as they are, don't tell the real story of Cristiano Ronaldo. The real story is about transformation. The real story is about a poor kid from a forgotten island who refused to accept limitations. The real story is about turning disadvantages into advantages. Cristiano's poverty taught him to value every opportunity. His early rejection taught him to prove doubters wrong. His physical limitations as a young player taught him to become the most disciplined athlete in the world. The real story is also about building something bigger than yourself. Today, Cristiano sits at the dinner table with his 4 children and his partner Georgina, knowing that he didn't just chase his own dreams, he created a foundation for their dreams too. From a boy who went to bed hungry, he became a man who ensures his family never will. From someone who felt powerless, he became someone who empowers millions around the world. Today, young athletes around the world study Cristiano's training methods, his diet, his mentality. Sports scientists analyze his physical condition and wonder how a 39-year-old man can still compete with players half his age. Business students study how he built a $500 million empire from nothing. Parents watch how he balances global superstardom with being a devoted father to 4 children. The answer isn't genetics. The answer isn't luck. The answer is simple, consistent, daily dedication to improvement in every area of life, professional, personal, and financial. Cristiano has never stopped being that 12-year-old boy who promised himself he would rather fail trying than spend his life wondering what could have been. Chapter 10. Your own championship. So let me ask you the same questions I asked at the beginning of this story. Do you remember when I told you about the boy who cried himself to sleep because other kids made fun of his accent? Do you remember the teenager who was told he would never be good enough? Now you understand the incredible truth about success. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't succeed despite his struggles. He succeeded because he learned how to transform those struggles into strength. His poverty became his motivation. His rejection became his determination. His criticism became his fuel. Most importantly, Cristiano proved that your starting point doesn't determine your ending point. What determines your ending point is your willingness to work every single day toward your goals. Right now, as you're listening to this story, you might be facing your own challenges. You might feel like you're not good enough, not talented enough, not lucky enough. Before we finish, I want you to do something for me. Think about one thing in your life that people have told you is impossible. One dream that others have laughed at. Write it in the comments below, because acknowledging it is the first step to achieving it. I want you to remember Cristiano's story. Remember the boy who was mocked for his accent and became the most famous athlete in the world. Remember the teenager who left everything behind to chase a dream that seemed impossible. Remember the man who, at age 39, is still breaking records and inspiring millions of people. You have the same potential inside you right now. You have the same ability to transform your disadvantages into advantages, your struggles into strength, your dreams into reality. But here's the secret that Cristiano learned, and that I want you to understand. Greatness isn't about one perfect moment. Greatness is about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. Your championship starts with today's training session. Your victory begins with this moment's decision to never give up. The boy from Madeira became a global legend not because he was perfect, but because he was persistent. Your transformation story starts right now. Because champions aren't born, they're built. One day at a time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of English Life Stories. I hope Cristiano Ronaldo's incredible journey from a poor island boy to a global legend inspired you as much as it inspired me when I researched his real story. If you enjoyed this episode and learned something valuable, please subscribe to our channel right now. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our next inspiring story. Next week, we'll explore another incredible transformation story that will show you how ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. Until then, remember, your dreams are not too big. You are not too small. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. This story is based on documented facts about Cristiano Ronaldo's life and career. Some scenes have been dramatized for educational and narrative purposes, while maintaining complete fidelity to the real events and timeline of his extraordinary journey.